Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning, especially to our youngest Sangha member. How old? 2 months. Welcome. I hope the bell's not too much. Okay. The insert in our booklet is the incense offering. We will recite that together. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as Earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Please stand and we will recite our chants beginning on page 7. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. Please turn the booklet over and we'll recite the Heart Sutra. It's our tradition to do the title at the beginning and the end. And there are some new people here, I see. The phrase in there, Prajna Paramita, we put our faith in Prajna Paramita. That's not a being, a God, a saint. Translated, that would be the perfection of wisdom. So we put our faith in the wisdom which we already have, which we would like, which we are working, practicing to awaken. Dhamma Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra. Please be seated. I'm not sitting because I have to get up again, and I'm too old to be doing that with a dress on. We have a guest speaker today. His name is David Reese. You all know him, or many of you know him. He's a former president of the temple and former head of the Ethics Council. Yeah. Anyway, David is a wise man, a person who I often come
to when I need somebody to talk to. David.
Well, good morning. As Hung Su said, my name is David. My Dharma name is Difang Su, which means unadorned place. And I was given that name when I received the precepts, and Hung Su was one of the precept masters that time. And it means, as I said, unadorned place, because Hung Su and Jin Su, who was the other precept master, tried to get to know us well enough that when we were given a Dharma name, it suited us, said something about us, where we were in our life on our spiritual journey. And so I like to think a more descriptive translation of Difang Su is uncluttered life, something that I've been working on for a long time. Now, what am I doing here this morning? Well, there are two reasons. One, I was asked if I would be willing to give a temple talk sometime. And I hesitated because I'm not a bodhisattva. I'm not a teacher in training. But out of respect to the person who asked me, I finally said yes. I was scheduled to speak last Sunday, but Kaji Su and I switched because of some conflicts. And when that happened, really about 2 weeks ago, it was as if I had Buddha sitting on one shoulder and Mara sitting on the other shoulder. And Mara was saying, "You have another week you can put off now to prepare." And Buddha simply said, "Focus." Now, the other reason I'm sitting here is a little more complicated. As some of you know, in my working life, my life before Buddhism, I spent 38 years as an ordained minister. I was in the United Church of Christ, better known shorthand as the UCC. And it's a progressive, and some would say even liberal denomination, which was always in the forefront, on the leading edge of standing for justice, for inclusivity, for fairness, for peace. And that kind of theological orientation and social activism really appealed to me because I was a college and seminary student back in the 60s. And as I look around the room, most of you know the 60s only by reading about it in a history book or seeing a documentary. Well, I can tell you that the 60s were it was mixed, but it really was an exciting time to be alive. And the two big issues at the time were the Vietnam War and civil rights. Later, added to that was LGBT rights, LGBTQ, I should say, women's rights, and a variety of other important issues that emerged that I would say a thinking person really need to stand with and for. So my values were reshaped in the 60s because I began my religious life, my spiritual pilgrimage, if you will, as the child of West Texas Southern Baptist parents. Whoa. I was raised in a setting where there was a long list of things that were not talked about in what my mother called polite company. Racism, poverty, sexism, white privilege, and of course, just plain sex. And always there was more than one elephant in the room. Now, I wasn't aware of what was happening as it unfolded, but as I look back over those years, I can see that I was on a religious journey, on a religious pilgrimage. I was on a journey that was going to take me very far from those early beginnings and bring me to this place at this time. It's all a part of my unfolding life. The Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple is a very significant part of my journey, of my path. And that's why I like the idea of uncluttered life as my Buddha name, because as I look back to where I've been, look behind me and there's a whole long trail of baggage that I've been leaving behind, uncluttering, downsizing maybe even. Now, Hung Su has often said that at the heart of this temple is the Heart Sutra. And every recent Sunday, except maybe today, he's included a comment about why the Heart Sutra is important to us. And Red Pine, in his translation of the Heart Sutra, comments that Buddhism is better understood as a skill or an art to be practiced, not information or knowledge that's to be assumed or amassed. And in the Lotus Sutra, Red Pine notes that we're called to be lifetime learners. In Buddhism, you never stop learning. We discover, in fact, that there is always much for us to learn. Now, I haven't read enough of Buddhist scriptures to know if Buddha would ever have said anything like what I'm about to describe, but he might. Imagine the Buddha sitting with a group of attentive, curious students. And one of them asks, "Master, what is the way to this awareness, this wisdom of which you speak?" The Buddha sits quietly for a minute, kind of looks around at all of those faces. And this says something like this: the way to awareness is like a path that you must follow. Imagine if you look off into the distance. Awareness is waiting for you. Only there's no path between you and that awareness. It's all brand new territory to explore for you to make your way. So as you look around, you see that there are stones lying everywhere, all over the place. And almost instinctively, you begin picking up stones, laying them down in front of you, pick up more stones, put them down, fill the spaces in between with dirt, pack it in, and you repeat that process over and over and over. And after a while, you look up and you see that awareness is still off in the distance, but it feels closer. And you look back and you see that you are not in the same place where you began. In making a path, in making the way to awareness and wisdom, the path has come into being by your practice. And let me suggest that as the path is our practice, our way to awareness and wisdom, when we speak of practice, we're speaking of something that's very essential to our being, to our Buddha nature. The stones that we've laid down and packed together represent all kinds of things. The Four Noble Truths, the 5 precepts, the Noble Eightfold Path, and my favorite, the 4 immeasurables. And there's so much more. And one of those stones which helps make our way possible is meditation. Now, I won't try to speak for all of us, but for me, meditation is both a reward and a challenge. Whether I'm attempting to meditate here in the temple or in a quiet space at home, I can never be sure what's going to happen in my meditation. Now, I use an app called Insight Timer. I like it because I can set it for a certain period of time, don't have to worry about keeping track of the time, and I like that it has a choice of bell sounds too. Now, I will confess that not many times has the beginning bell rung, and the next thing I know, the ending bell rings. And in those moments between, rare as they are, something very special and amazing has happened, as if my mind really had become still and clear, and I felt renewed of self and spirit. It's a great feeling. Most of the time, however, my meditation seems to be an endless array of activity of the mind, the proverbial monkey mind that we often hear people talk about. So here I am sitting quietly, eyes closed, trying to focus on my breath, and it's like every little sound, every little body sensation, every thought is clamoring for attention. The one thing I haven't heard yet here this morning is the cappuccino machine in the cafe next door. How can I focus when there is this constant stream of distraction popping into my head? Monkey mind at work. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I guess from your response, you've all had the same kind of experience. For a long time, I labored with a burden of expectation for my meditation. I was trying too hard to make something happen. And rather than just letting whatever happens, I've tried even harder. But along the way came two insights that have made my meditation far less worrisome. One was the insight that monkey mind is too often used judgmentally, as if to say, if I'm experiencing monkey mind in my meditation, then I'm not meditating properly. I'm doing it wrong. And then one day, not too long ago, it occurred to me, maybe even in my meditation, that monkey mind can simply be descriptive. It happens because it happens. There's nothing wrong, so I try not to worry about it. I don't fret. I don't beat myself up. It is what it is, and it's going to happen. The other insight came as a result of reflecting on a line by Shunryo Suzuki in his book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. His thought has been expressed in a variety of ways. As 2 weeks ago, for example, Tanjin Su described our mind as being like the sky, the clear blue sky, and clouds come in, moving across the sky, clouds coming and going. And Suzuki says, do not try to stop your thinking. If something comes into your mind, let it come in and then let it go out. It won't stay long. And I really like a more succinct version of that. Leave your front door open and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just don't serve them tea. So try to remember that path to awareness is our path. The path we have built for ourselves, putting all of those stones into place, is our way, our practice. So this is the time when I ask if there are any questions or comments.
How long have you been on this path?
Well, officially 11 years. He asked how long I've been on this path. I started coming to the temple when it was still up in that little space on Fulton. And, but as I said earlier, I've been on this path for a long time. I just didn't know it. Aren't you glad we're not meditating? Okay. Prepare yourselves for meditation.
Does anyone have any announcements to make? And I will share my. Oh,
Recovery meetings are starting again Monday nights, 6:30 meditation and 7 o'clock meeting. You can find all the other information. The other recovery meetings are at the regularly scheduled times on our newsletter. Thank you.
Morning. My Dharma name is Poshi, and Jan Ensing is my given name. I'm the board president and secretary, and I'm struggling because I don't have my glasses, and I'm covering for someone this morning. I want to let you know that our temple exists because of your volunteer efforts and donations. In keeping with our practice of dana and generosity, we hope you find value in what this temple teaches. To show your appreciation, there are dana boxes at each entrance. I feel like a flight attendant doing that. Or visit zengr.org and select the donate button, or select the button below the YouTube video. Thank you for your support.
also, I'd like to add to that nobody here receives a salary. Everything, any monies that we receive pays rent and utilities. And I drop every Sunday a check in the dana box myself, so we can keep warm or cool or dry. Now, not next Sunday, the 27th, which is the Sunday after Easter, am I right? Okay, the 27th, we're going to have an in-service for people who, if anyone would like to be a greeter. The front door is being opened again. So if anybody would like to be a greeter to welcome people to the temple, to help them find their way around, I'll show you how to do that. That would be at 9 o'clock, the 27th. After that service, at whatever time we end, if you would like to participate in the incense lighting pre-service, stick around and I will give you some instruction on how that. We would like to have more people involved in that. Now, this is something that has nothing to do with the temple per se, other than the first precept, which is to respect and protect life. I happen to live with two 40-year-old, 6 foot, 7 foot cactus, prickly pear cactus. And they grow large, massive, and I had to trim them so I can move them outside for the summer. The trimmings are downstairs. If you would like one, take it, and if you need instructions, I'll tell you how to grow it. They're incredibly simple, but they live forever, and they'll get bigger than you. Do I have something else, or go ahead?
We have events at the temple, and I want to make you aware of those. The next Lojan celebration is Saturday, April 16. And on Thursday mornings, we have the Dharma Sutra discussion group facilitated by Reverend Hung Soo. And online, there are two offerings, Radical Dharma Book Club, as well as the virtual Death Cafe. And then on the third Wednesday of each month, we have the Board of Directors meeting. And each week, there is the Buddhist base recovery programs. They meet Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And all the things that I just mentioned, you can get details in the newsletter or on the website. There is on the website a way to subscribe to the newsletter if you would like to get information about these events every week. Thank you. Excuse me, our website is zengr.org. Thank you.
Anything else from anyone? All right. And what page are they on? Nine. And together we say, for all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the road of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. This is a dividing line. Y'all, you all vow to one another. Peaceful day. And if anyone would like to help put away the chairs and cushions, we'll leave one row of cushions on.
2 rows of 16, 8 on this side, 8 on this side of the bed.